All right, guys, I'm going to talk about a topic that is highly debated in the Mustang community um, with the Coyote motors, Gen 1, Gen 2, and Gen 3. And that is whether or not you need to replace your oil pump gears and your crank sprocket with billet pieces. And my answer to that question is always maybe. If you have a stock car and are just going to leave it alone and drive it, then I do not think you need to replace these. I've yet in my experience to see a stock car break either one of these. I know someone might chime in and say they've seen it, but in my own personal experience, and I see lots of Coyote cars, I have yet to see a stock car break them. All the broken ones that I've run across in the past few years have been guys with blowers on their car, whether that be centrifugal or roots or twin screw, any positive displacement or a centrifugal blower. Those are the cars that I have seen fail. I know there's some debate out there that centrifugal blowers are actually harder on the gears, and I definitely see that point that those are driven off the crank. So anytime you got any extra stress hanging off the end of the crank, you are obviously going to be putting a little bit more stress on these as well. So I can definitely understand that. But I've seen them break on Whipple cars, Roush cars, and I've seen them break on Pro Charger cars as well. So you can kill them with any power adder, I'm sure. What I think actually kills these, again, this is my own personal opinion based on my experience, is guys that are working the timing chains hard. So anyone that's bouncing off the rev limiter, getting a two-step and just letting the car sit on the two-step, anytime you are working those timing chains hard, you are putting a ton of stress on these oil pump gears and obviously on the chains themselves, which are on the sprocket. So my own personal opinion is if you're going to spend $7, $8, $9, $10,000 on a power adder, whether it be a blower, turbos, or even a nitrous setup, then why aren't you spending the extra $400 on the known weak length of these motors, which are these two things. So if you can't afford to do it right, then hold off, until you got the extra money to put the gears in. To give yourself some peace of mind and make sure that you fortify the motor on the parts that we know fail on these motors. I know for some guys there's going to be some added cost to have a shop install these. A lot of guys don't want to, deal with timing a dual overhead cam motor, which I totally understand. And with the 18 and 19 cars, there is a little bit more cost involved. To do those right, the way that we do them at the shop is to actually pull the motor out of those cars, because just to pull down the front of the oil pan isn't really the right way to do it with those new plastic oil pans. You really should take the motor out and reseal that oil pan. I know there's guys out there just dropping the front and squeezing it back on there, and that might be okay for some shops, but that is not not the correct way to do it. So I'll just say that. But for the 15, 17 cars and the Gen 1 cars, it's a pretty straightforward process and definitely worth the money and peace of mind to throw these in to protect your investment. Granted, other parts can break, but this is a part that we know breaks on these motors. So I would say if you are going to do anything past the stock levels of these motors, then throw these gears in these cars. It's it seems to be a highly debated topic because guys are always trying to find a reason not to do them because it's not a sexy part to do. This is not a fun way to spend $1,500 if you're having a shop do it when you could get a new set of wheels or whatever it might be, something more sexy to do with your money. But there ain't nothing sexy about a motor with a window in it either. So if you're gonna push past the stock limits, by all means swap these in, give yourself some peace of mind. I run the MMR gears in my car, and we actually have the rev limit raised real high on my car just so I never hit the soft or even the hard limit. By all means, I never hit either of those limiters. I shift way before, so I don't have to worry about that My car does have a two-step, but I don't just put my foot to the floor and let it bounce off the two-step. I gradually work up the RPMs till I'm just touching the two-step, and then I leave it. I'm only on it for a split second. So, it's definitely something. It's a highly debated topic, but again, this is my personal opinion. If you're gonna spend the money on a build, throw these in your car. You'll sleep better at night, and you'll thank me for it. Thanks, guys.